There's there we go. Hello, Cosmos. How are you?
It's good
Good,
now.
Elizabeth. You can hear me clearly. That's good. And you will need to because you guys are going to be busy today. Let's. I think we're good. The second computer really does the trick. Right. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to bring up that one thing here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it here. Okay. So let's go to YouTube, and that's as much as we're going to be able to do as one person. I just can't physically do any more. So we want to go. Is that me? Is that premium? Oh no, we want to go to YouTube. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So that what I like is that you're working today. You're working and you're okay, so you're asking me for that. So the system is working today, and can everyone else, it looks like everyone else can hear me. I can see in the live chat right there. Yeah. Okay. Nice, nice. So everything is holding. Forget that. What I want to do is go to that Tucker Carlson, and it's a Tucker Carlson, world's most effective leader. Let's see if it comes up. There it is. There it is. Okay. So why don't we just do that for now? Yeah, that is going to work. I'm going to hold that for now. Things are holding. Things are steady. I think we can take off. We have our handheld, just one. And could you please shut the doors? And we can finally begin. I might do a little test with the Cosmos, but we have a nucleus. That's good. And yeah, very, very good. So let's just make sure Tech wants to join us. Is Tech in attendance today? Is Tech working in attendance? I believe Tech working is. And so I'm just going to put this here for now. I'm going to let that sit up there. Nice. Do you want to come into the, yeah, great. Just so everybody sees you and we get a good nucleus going today. You'll see, oops, let me just show you on YouTube up here so you can, oh, no, that's, just a second. Where did YouTube go? Okay, lag. There's YouTube. So let's do this because I want to hold that today. And to do that, there's YouTube. And then we'll bring in the map. And then we're good, okay? So there you can see in the top left-hand corner pretty well everyone. And that gives you a view of YouTube. So let me just make sure before we begin that everything is connected. And in the Cosmos, could somebody please jump on their microphone and say hello? Let's just see how that's working. If you want your participation marks, go ahead.
Hello.
Nice.
Hello?
Yes, good, good. Okay, so that's going to work. We have our live stream. We're up, we're in. Essentially, we've left the planet. We're moving into orbit, and nothing has broken down. Nothing has exploded. Everything is connected, and this classroom is flying. Okay, excellent. So, everyone, welcome to Global Leader, our 7th class this semester. Essentially, we are coming to the halfway point of this semester. Next week is midterm break or reading week, and you will be receiving as well next Tuesday a midterm grade. So that will be based on your discussion posts and your first assignment. So all the first assignments should be in by now. They were due last week, February the 19th. There will not be a discussion post today after today's class. Everyone has received 5 out of 5 for that. So you may have seen already for your grades, discussion post 7, 5 out of 5. I have received some questions from students online. Why is that there? And I've let them know when I could, but I'll let you all know now, as well as in the distant part of our solar system, the asynchronous students. There are lots of you out there. Make sure that you understand what I've just said, but you can also send me an email later. Great. So everything seems to be working. Let's just move the microphone around a little bit and make sure this is working. Okay. So can you just turn it on, speak like it's karaoke, Kendra, into it, and just give us your name and tell us how you're doing today. Please go ahead.
I was off from my placement and not here last week because of the other working
Yep.
jobs that I do. So it's a good day today.
Good to see you. Yes. Go ahead. We'll just move the microphone around to everyone. Yeah, go ahead. Great. Good to see you, Darrell. And also, I like the discussion posts that you've been doing. Just for everyone, this is a student who comes in person and yet is still writing full reflection posts. Doesn't have to, but is doing it, and they're good. So it really indicates that this is someone who's engaged with the ideas, and I really appreciate that. It's excellent. Waleed, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
Two tests.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of exhausted. I have another one.
Wow. Did you sleep last night?
Oh, yeah.
You did, and you had 2 tests? Oh, you had 2 tests the day before? Yesterday?
One and one yesterday.
Oh, okay. So, and did they go well, do you think?
Yeah, and I've got one tomorrow too, so.
Well, great.
It's a busy week.
Well, it's good to see you because I always expect that at this time of year, because there are exams and tests, there will be a kind of fewer students in the classes. That's normal, but for you to still be able to come to these classes while you have a load of exams and tests is excellent. Okay, do you want to hand the microphone to the next student?
Okay, sure. Hi, my name is Nathan. I'm doing well.
Yeah? Good. Did you have tests, exams?
I did
Yeah,
yesterday. It came out good.
yeah.
I'm happy with that so far.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's good that you can come to the class because one of the things I like to believe and I try to work hard at is that this is a class where even if you are really working hard and you have exams and tests, this class can be helpful for you to come during that time because it helps you to think critically and deeply. Yes. Waleed, you see something? But not the classmates? Okay. Thanks, Elizabeth. Let's see. Is that on? Is it on? Yeah, I hear you. Okay, that's interesting. Just could you Nathan, can you just tell us a little bit about the weather or anything, as long as we can just hear you speak? Okay, go ahead.
The weather is quite not so nice today. The good thing is we're all here today. Nothing's better than that.
Yes. Oh, I think I see what might be.
No, we don't.
want that. Hold on. Do you want to move the microphone over and let's see for some reason? Are we still having trouble with you in the Cosmos hearing the students? Do you want to put a yes or a no? Go ahead and just speak for a little bit. How are you doing today? Give us your name. Yep. Okay, you can, let me try something for a second, okay? Do you want to hand me this microphone for a second? And I'm just going to test it and make sure that it's working. Okay, so, hi, can you hear me clearly right now as I speak in this microphone? Yes, okay, so it's the way people are speaking into the microphone. That might be the issue, okay? It's not the microphone itself. Good, okay. So I'll work on that, the students. Great. Okay, so it's off now. All right, and when we get going, I'll help you with that. I've got mine on. So you can hear me now clearly as well. Carol, everybody, I've just turned my, yeah, good. Okay, so I understand what the issues are. I've really been working hard with tech these last days to get this spacecraft working. But as you know, as some of you have seen and have understood in your discussion posts, when I am troubleshooting and trying to make this work, I'm a living, breathing demonstration of global leadership in process. And some of you have picked up on that, and I've articulated that. But it's really important I say that again because I've designed the class this way. We are creating something entirely new in education in the way that we connect everybody, we use multimedia, and even in terms of the content of the class. So there's a sophisticated, difficult, complex technical challenge in this room, as you've probably seen. And I believe that the only way we can get through all of these technical challenges and really demonstrate to the world what is possible in education is if I bring the students into my problems so that you can see me working through the technical challenges in a way that demonstrates leadership. It would be easy for me to say to the college, I can't do this anymore. It's just too difficult in this facility at this college for me to be a one-man band without any technical support in class. I used to have that. That's gone away. So what I decided was, instead of giving up on this experiment, this challenge to really demonstrate what is possible in education so that students can be better educated and more engaged in learning today, I decided the only way this is going to work is if I make the technical problems part of the course. Because in leadership, as you've seen and has resonated with some students, you're always going to be facing problems. And so it might seem to some of you that these technical challenges make it difficult for you to participate in this class, and you would rather be in another class. That's fine, not a problem. But I want you to understand that when you see me up here at the podium, stick handling a very complex technical system here and doing it in a way where it generally works, it's because I'm demonstrating leadership. I'm calm, I enjoy what I'm doing, and I really want you to see that when you lead, you will at least see something in me of a little bit of a role model, not completely, but something of a role model of how you're going to deal with the problems that you face when you're in a position of leadership. You have to persevere, and you have to do it with a good spirit, and you have to be prepared to take on a lot of work on your shoulders, and you are ultimately responsible to the people whom you are leading or working with. I'm leading you, but in a way I'm not. We're together. But good leadership is collaborative, truly collaborative. Okay, so let me just move on from that now that we have the tech working and everything, and see if there's any questions before we do a very big class today. We're going to turn the class into a think tank. And the 5 of you in the nucleus can be one group. Okay, that's great. So that will work well. And then in the cosmos, you're going to also be working together with me at the smart board while the team is working here. But we have a challenge today. Trevor, are you with us in the cosmos? Let's see if Trevor is.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Way to go. Did you bring a case study or an example of Nayib Bukele's leadership in El Salvador?
I can look it up in 10 minutes and I'll let you know.
Okay, that will be part of your work when you get into the teams, okay? So not to worry, you don't have to do that now, but that's excellent because today what we're going to do is we're going to take the global leader that you chose or voted for, not everybody, last week, and we're going to drill down. and try to understand more about the impact of what some are calling online behind me, as you will see on the board, in a recent interview that Nayib Bukele did with Tucker Carlson, American journalist, the world's most effective leader. Now, that's quite a statement. Let me make sure that's up here. Here, yeah, there it is. Okay, good. So I really like the choice that you made as a example. It's rich in learning. By the end of today's class, I'm going to be very interested to see what your conclusion is after we have our class, because I want to drill down on this choice and see if, let's say, I will put this as gently as I can. Did you make the right choice? Now, how are we going to determine that? Well, I'm going to jump into this, okay? Since we had tech challenges and everything, I'm going to get going with the main part of the class. I hope that I could do some reviewing with you and read out your discussion posts. There's some very good discussion posts. Discussion post 5, as well as assignments that are coming in, and I love that part of the class, is reading out loud, but we're not going to have time for that. We've got serious content today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to speak for about 10 more minutes to get you set up. I have some thoughts on how to help you with this. And then the nucleus is going to work together. Maybe we'll put it into 3 and 2 to give you a chance to really interact, okay? So maybe Kendra and Darrell, and then Waleed, Nathan, and Zidane, good. Yeah, Delane, great. And they will work together. And then in the cosmos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera over to the smartboard in a moment. And then I'm going to talk to you from the smartboard and help you there while the teams are working here. And I'll go back and forth, okay? And that way everybody is brought into the class. But I want to give Trevor a chance to do a little research on a case study. I do have a case study as well, Trevor, about Bukele's leadership that I could bring, but I'm going to let you do some work first as well. By around 11, let's say 10 or so, in about 40 minutes, we will take this up and we're going to make a list of conclusions on the smartboard, some critical takeaway. And I can do the notes, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get, if Delane can do them again, she's done good notes, or whoever volunteers. But if you do them, you get your 5 out of 5, just like that, okay? Okay, we'll see. But essentially, in the next hour, by 11:30, 11:35, we're going to determine, does this person really deserve to be called a global leader? Now, that's a big statement. So how are we going to determine that? Well, it's on this I need to speak for a moment, okay? I need to speak about where all of you get your information. So I'm hoping you're listening, because essentially this little lecture I'm going to give in the next 10 minutes is about sources. And I'm going to try and be as fair and as scholarly as I can. That you can always guarantee with me. Scholarly, independent, rigorous, critical. But sometimes my emotions get the better of me, and I'm aware of that in terms of where my heart lies. So I'm going to try and keep my emotions out of this and try and just show you the facts, but give you a chance to explore the facts on your own so that we can determine if this person not just should be called a global leader, but does this person have the right to be called the world's most effective leader? That's a huge statement. So I take this seriously in terms of where you get your information. So I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to grill you yet. I might, particularly the smart board with the Cosmos, where do you get your information from about what's happening in the world? I'll see, okay? But I'm going to give you some sources. I'm going to give you some good sources, some independent, journalistic, rigorous sources that are respected, and I'm going to let you jump onto those sources in your teams to find out about Nayib Bukele and see exactly, does he deserve to be called a global leader or not? Maybe. Is he the kind of global leader, if he is, that we would want to endorse in this class? And that's going to be in the take-up when we really bring this together. Essentially, what you're going to be doing, all of you, is after exploring these sources, and I'll write them down, you're going to be bringing this to the whole class, including the Cosmos. And I just want to not warn you, but just put a little bit of a kind of notice here. If you're not prepared to demonstrate some courage today in declaring what you don't know, then you maybe have to work on your leadership sort of thinking, because leadership is about courage, but it's about many other things. You need to say when you don't know. As Shakespeare said, the only darkness is ignorance. But that's a very, very excruciatingly difficult thing for any of us to admit to anybody, which is when we don't know. And so if you don't know something or you've learned something today with these sources, please be prepared to say, yes, I have learned. Or, Lon, I have a better source. Please be prepared to say that, okay? And we're going to critically examine this. So, first, I want to give you some sources, and I'd like to list them on the board. So I need a note taker to go over there and grab the pen. So Delane, and we'll do the onboard at the same time, okay? So let's get your names up there. Join Delane for a second and just put your names there, okay? And we'll do the onboard first, since it's a small group here. And for everybody in the Cosmos, I think I'm okay now with not having you write your full names. I can go from your login name. I think I'm pretty good that way, okay? Let me just see right now. Let's just see who's in the Cosmos. And if I've missed anybody, then you can let me know, okay? Of course, we have Carol, we have Ebot, we have Elizabeth, we have Kensia, we have Shikuru. Oh, okay, so it's a smaller, just wait a minute, let me go this way. Daniel Sinclair is there. Right, I'll do it this way. Melanie's there, Morgan is there. So Shikuru, Morgan, Melanie, Kensia, Ebot, Daniel, and Carol. I think I didn't miss anybody in the Cosmos. If I did, please let me know. And so, great. So we're going to get the notes going in a moment. For the Cosmos, I'm going to, oh, and of course, Trevor. Where's Trevor? Is Trevor there?
Yes.
Oh, how did you log in? What's your name in the? Where's
Trevor?
Yeah. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Okay, sorry. Yeah, now okay, got you. Thanks, Trevor. I got you here, okay? I've got two computers going now. Everything is working, but it just means I have to look at a few more things, and I see it now. Okay, great. Okay, so that's on board. So, yeah, exactly. Sources. In the Cosmos, here's the first act of courage today, just in the Cosmos. In the Cosmos, could you please, all of you, start just putting into the Cosmos just the name of the one place you go every day to find out what's going on in the world. Could you just put that in the live chat? Let's see what happens in the live chat, okay? So let's keep our eyes on the live chat right now. And I see it here, and I can engage. So you shouldn't have to think too hard about this. There should be a place that you go every day, more or less, to find out what's happening in the world. It should come right off the top of your head. Exactly, Waleed. Google News, not for facts, but headlines. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Good. Okay, keep going. Google News, Global News, BBC News. Not yet. Yeah, I'm going to let the Cosmos go first, okay? Well, you guys are going to have lots of time. I just want to let the Cosmos really go. Okay. We're going to get to this in a second. No, not yet, okay? Let's just see what happens here. I'm going to Google News, CTV News, Google News, Google News. Okay. So that helps. Essentially, what I'm just learning right now, and I'm going to speak bluntly today, okay? This is only to be constructive. The places you're going for your news are pretty superficial. Television news, that's global news and CTV, that's pretty good. I worked for a long time in television news as a director and a producer. I started as a young reporter at City TV when I was 17 years old in Toronto. You can see me as a 17-year-old television reporter. Picture me in the City TV lobby, if you go into their lobby. I have had a long career in journalism, writing for magazines, newspapers, producing documentaries. So I know what I'm talking about. I've been there. Television news is good, but it tends to get its news generally from print, okay? That's often the case. Good television news reporters will do their own reporting, but not always. Google News, I have no idea what that means. And Elizabeth, who is an excellent student, and I have so much respect for her as a mom and what she writes, she just said she just goes for headlines. So I'm going to make a statement right now, but I may be wrong. And you can challenge me. I'm on your side. I'm just being devil's advocate for now, okay? It appears to me that in the cosmos, where you all get your news, is very limited. Is that fair to say? Is anyone, Elizabeth, do you want to jump on your microphone and answer that? Do you feel that's a fair statement, or is there something I don't know?
I think, I don't know if it's limited or it's just easy access. I think because
Easy
that's
access.
the first, you open your phone and the first thing I open is Google.
Yeah.
And I get the highlights because going in depth is not what I'm looking for. I want to know if a train fell off a track. I want to know if a war has been started. But then if I'm interested or if something does pull me in, then there's more of a deep dive. But even the deep dive is more, I think maybe superficial in the sense of I'm not necessarily scanning for sources. I'm not looking for multiple sources. I'm getting information. I think if something affects me, then I think I tend to do more of like a research thing. But most of it is just getting the basics. What happened in the world whilst I was sleeping? That's my first check. Is like, oh, okay, yeah.
Great. Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. And don't forget to mute your mic when you're up, but that's great. I'm not going to put anybody here in the nucleus on the spot yet, just because I want to let you guys absorb this, but you're going to be getting the most pressure today, okay? In terms of where are you getting your sources. I just want you to get prepared, all right, in terms of me challenging you. But what I'd like to do before you go into your team is give a little talk now for 5 minutes on important sources. And I'm going to give a list to Delane. And I'm going to have her write these down. And I'm going to ask each of you, as we go through this, have you heard of any of these sources before? Okay, so first, Delane, do you want to start writing? The Global Investigative Journalism Network. The Global Investigative Journalism Network. I don't expect that you will know that, but maybe some of you will. For example, Global Investigative Journalism Network. You're going to hear me use the word journalism a lot. Scholarly, of course, is the academic world, and I'm part of that too, but ultimately, I come from the journalism world. I'm going to say something to all of you that might surprise you. Now, remember, I've had a lot of experience as a journalist. I'm 63 now. I started as a television journalist when I was 17. I won the Best Television News Documentary of the Year from the Radio and Television News Directors Association when I was 18 years old. I accepted the award at a motel in Trenton. I'm not making any of this up, okay? I've written for top magazines, produced documentaries for networks. I had my own company. I love journalism. I believe journalists are people who really care about bringing you the truth, good journalists. And maybe today, as we go through this, the take-up, you will come to understand what is good journalism, not corrupted, mercenary, commercial journalism, but journalism by people who want to tell you what's really going on and will dig and dig and dig until they get the truth. And I love those people. I wish I could be one all the time. Global Investigative Journalism Network is number one. How about The Economist magazine? Now, any of you heard of The Economist? Good, okay. I'm going to assume none of you heard of the Global Investigative Journalism Network. Okay, that's a big one. But The Economist is pretty good. And generally, the journalists there are trying to tell us something that is significant, and they do their research, but sometimes it's a little bit ideological, but it's generally pretty good. You're going to be surprised to hear what The Economist has to say about Nayib Bukele, Trevor, and others. Yes, I'll give you that source. So The Economist magazine. How about a new one that you may not have heard of called ProPublica? ProPublica. This is one of the new cutting-edge journalism enterprises where journalists from established newspapers like the New York Times, for example, the Washington Post, American journalists, or Canadian journalists are starting to migrate to, because they feel that those established newspapers are not rigorous enough or somehow are caving in to the pressure from Donald Trump, which is not insignificant. The Washington Post used to be a great newspaper. It was the paper that once broke the story called Watergate. Do any of you know what Watergate is? Ever heard the term Watergate? It's when the American president, Richard Nixon, in the 1970s, was investigated by two journalists, Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward. It became a movie, All the President's Men. And through their investigating, they determined that the American president had committed crimes and he had to resign. That was called the Watergate scandal. That was a result of the Washington Post investigation. Waleed? Oh, take the mic, okay? Go ahead. So I just want to spend a few more minutes on this with sources, because you're going to be going to these sources in a moment, okay? Waleed, speak firmly into it, okay? Go ahead.
You say that you said that Richard Nixon had committed crimes, right?
Yes.
But then again, which president has not committed crimes?
Well, that's another discussion, but actually, could you make a little note? Just go to the other card, or it might be too complicated. You know what? Yeah, that's fine. Notes, okay? Which, we won't say American here. It's too easy. Which president has never committed a crime? From Waleed, but we're going to come back, okay? Excellent critical thinking. And that's going to lead us towards Nayib Bukele, who It is being investigated that he's starting to commit crimes. But we need, again, we need to go to the sources for that. For a professor to stand in front of you with some passion, passion is great, but passion is cheap. Ultimately, the facts are what matter. We are going to find out today from some of the facts that this world's most effective leader seems to be making illegal actions. Anyways, okay. ProPublica, another source. How about The Guardian? Any of you use The Guardian? Yeah. Standard, okay. Guardia, Guardian. And we'll add The Guardian, for the sake of balance, Fox News. Okay, no, it's okay. Fox News is hugely impactful in the United States and even here in Oshawa. We have a representative, a member of parliament for Oshawa Bowmanville. I forget his name. He just on his own went down to meet with J.D. Vance, the vice president, and the two of them went to Yale University together. And his name is Vijani, the member of parliament for Oshawa Bowmanville. You may have heard recently on his own, went down in social media, was talking to everybody about J.D. Vance, his buddy. J.D. Vance is the American vice president. This member of parliament went to school with J.D. Vance. They had a business together. Now he's come back to Canada and he's telling everybody, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, they're good guys. Fox News is good. Okay, so we're going to, Fox News, okay? How about El Faro? This you're not going to know about. El Faro. E-L-F-A-R-O. El Faro happens to be an investigative new organization in El Salvador. And guess what's happening to El Faro and other journalists in El Salvador? What's that? They're being censored. Exactly. They're being arrested. But we need to go to El Faro to see what their information is. And how about, okay, so we have The Economist, we have El Faro. I don't want to overwhelm you, Guardian. How about Freedom House? Freedom House. It's an organization in Washington consulted by politicians, journalists, academics all over the world, formed in 1945 at the end of the Second World War to ensure that the war that happened then would never happen again, to protect freedoms. It's also considered an excellent source of information. Every year it has an annual report of the state of freedom and democracy and human rights in the world. I mean, interesting to enter El Salvador into Freedom House's search bar. So, okay, that's enough for now, okay? I have more I could give you. All right, so I'm going to conclude and then give you a chance to begin to engage with these sources. And Delane, I'll take over the smartboard at that point so you can work with your team, so not to worry. Great. And for those of you in the Cosmos, I'm going to come and talk to you directly in a moment from the smartboard. But in the Cosmos, is there anything you'd like to say before I conclude this little lecture? Tiny, tiny lecture. And these things keep going off, but I will bring it back. Okay, come. There we go. Okay. Remember what I just said about passion and emotion. Do you know how often students said to me, Lon, I like coming to the class because you're enthusiastic, you're passionate, and it's infectious. And that means a huge deal to me. It's very important. But then when I drive home along the 407 after classes, I often think, Did I not give them accurate enough information? Was I just once again being passionate? And I can't, well, I love what I do. As a leader, there's going to come a point when you have to decide, as any leader would, if you want to be a good one, does it matter more to you for you to convince people through your passion, or would it be better to be a little bit cooler and make sure that they have great information? Or maybe it's both. But right now, what I want to make sure you have is an engagement not with emotion, not with outrage. In the world in which we get a lot of our information today, i.e. social media or Google or other places, everybody is emotional, if you've noticed. We have leaders in the world, not just an American president, but many. Whenever they have a certain impulse or a mood that they're in, they just go on social media and they post their feeling about what happened. That's bad information. If all you're getting is people's moods and impulses broadcast to you on social media, we're going to become very stupid. We're going to become followers. We won't know how to think critically. So now we have to divorce that outrage, that emotion, that sense of all those things that we go onto social media for, and now be really, really rigorous and go to good sources and ask ourselves some tough questions and find good information. Okay? Waleed? Yes. Go ahead, Jack. Make sure.
All of this leads into one thing, and that major one thing, and that is called bias.
Excellent. Bias. I will write that down. We have to ensure that our sources are not biased. That's a great question, Waleed. And I have news for you. Good news. There are unbiased sources. Not everything and everyone is biased in the world. There is so much suspicion today around the information that you and I and we all receive. And I want you to know that these sources you're going to right now, they are doing their best, sometimes failing, sometimes, but they're doing their best, Waleed, not to be biased. They're trying. They really are. And I can speak from experience. I've been there as a journalist. I know what it's like. You are trying so hard to confirm, to be accurate, to bring people what's really going on, because you want to hold truth to power. That, in a nutshell, is what journalism, good journalism, is about. You are holding truth to power. Do you understand what that means? Truth to power? You are standing there and you're saying with a light, this is the truth. I have the truth. I've done my best. And I'm holding that up against power, the people who are trying to conceal the truth. I may not have succeeded 100%, but I'm trying. So let's start, okay? Kendra, Darrell, you're a pair. You can work together, okay? And then the three of you come together. I'd like you, I'll go back here, to go to any of these sources or one that you believe I'd like you to go to any of these sources or your own, as long as you're prepared to defend it as unbiased. And try and answer the question, does Nayib Bukele, the current president of El Salvador, deserve to be called a global leader? Does that make sense? Okay, great. Please start, okay? I'm gonna go to the Cosmos and I'm gonna make sure, and I'll come back to you in about 10 minutes, all right? Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna put the camera over to the Cosmos. Hold on, everybody. And then let's see how it's working today. Yeah, okay. So let's come over here. I will stand there. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my over here. Okay. Nice. I can do this. Yeah. There we go. I'm going to be able to see all of you that way. Okay. And you can see me. Great. Okay. So let me bring this a little closer. All right. And do it this way for now. Okay, Cosmos. You have these sources right here. The Global Investigative Journalism Network, The Economist Magazine, ProPublica, The Guardian, Fox News, Alpha, Freedom House. Well, did you hear the instructions I gave to the nucleus? You just go into the live chat, okay? That'll be the best way for now. You heard it? Okay, Carol? Good. Let's see. Trevor? Daniel? Eva? Elizabeth? Great. So, do you have any questions for me, or can I leave you with the same challenge right now, which is that you work individually with any of these sources or with your own source, and you can talk to each other in the live chat. You want to go back and forth, okay? But I'd like you to work together as much as possible. I can't put you into teams. I just can't do that with the video conference system right now. But if you want to engage each other, okay, let's see, Trevor. Yeah, I see your question. Do you need? No, you don't, Trevor. Good question. But the source that you do use, you have to be prepared to declare and then explain how it's not biased, or at least it's trying its best not to be biased. Okay, absolutely, you can use your own sources. Good. Ebon, Shikuru, Morgan, Melanie, are you all good with this? Do you understand what I'm asking you to do? Good, Morgan, Melanie, yep, I see you here. Nice. Shikuru, great. So when you start to make your conclusions to the question, does Nayib Bukele, the current president of El Salvador, whose picture I'll put up here, short and nice picture, does he deserve really to be called a global leader? The one we chose. And we may determine by the end of the class today, yes, he does. But let's at least give ourselves a chance to critically engage with unbiased sources, rigorous journalism, before we determine the answer to that question. Okay? So let's see. I'm going to put this here. I think this is going to work if I do it this way. I may make some notes. Okay? So we have ProPublica is excellent. If I were to start somewhere, this is introducing you to a new source, okay? You're going to find. Also, The Economist has just done some investigating of Nayib Bukele, and you may learn about his prison that he's built in El Salvador. It's the largest prison in the world. 40,000 inmates are there right now because he's declared war on gangs, as we know. But we're going to get into that, okay? Gangs. Good. Okay, and I'll check over here. Delane starts with notes. Let's see what's happening on board. I'm just going to clean up things a little bit and add to the notes. And for those in the nucleus, I'm just sort of talking to myself, so you can ignore me, okay? I may talk to the cosmos, but the cosmos can hear me, and that's good. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is going to work in terms of content, in terms of the, let's take a look and see how that is. And second. Nice. So it would be something like that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, so we'll come back to the chat and see. I want to see anything right now in the chat. So I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to try something. I'm now talking to Tech. Okay. All you have to do when you go to any of these sources is you just go to their landing page, go to their search bar, enter Nayib Bukele or El Salvador, and watch what comes up. Okay, good. So this is working nicely. I don't even need to worry about that. So let's go to YouTube. Let's see what's happening on YouTube in terms of today's class. And having this is really helpful. Yeah, having this is really helpful. And how's the lag in YouTube? Not too bad. Okay, so here I am. Looking down, yeah. Okay, so I might even. Now, so here's our nucleus today. On board. Nice. And in terms of the groups, we're going to have a call. So, Kendra and Darrell are working together. Okay, so we'll call that group A. Okay? Kendra and Darrell, right? Yeah, Kendra and Darrell are group A. Nathan, Waleed, and Delane, group B. Okay? And how are we going to do that? Yeah, the tech is working well. I can see now here. Yeah. I'm going to get my glasses. Hold on. I'm just over at the podium. Let's sort of run this for a second. This with, let's see what we get. Okay. Yeah, this thing keeps going to sleep. And that's okay. Oh, I see. What's happening? Okay, we're good. Okay, so we'll do it this way. Let's try this. Okay. Well, since that's in Spanish, I just want you to see him. You're going to see Nayib Bukele. And let's bring the camera over here for a second. Camera, come back. And how are we doing on YouTube? Because I want everybody to see as I speak about him. I'm going to narrate a little bit. But it will take a moment or so for it to come back. But that's it. Go back here. And then look at it. Over here. Okay, nice. So all of you now in the cosmos will see on the big board an interview with Nayib Bukele, with Tucker Carlson. And while Waleed and the others are working, and good, Darrell and Kendra are now having a chat, I just want you to all understand what you're looking at. That is a very young man. Yeah, and he is immensely popular. 92% of Salvadorans have voted for him. And, well, we will deal with this in the take-up. And make sure when you have a chance, after you've looked, Delane and Nathan and Molly, that you have a chat about this before we take it up, okay? Good. Great. Way to go, everybody. You're engaging, and I like what Trevor said, because he's demonstrating leadership. Is he's asked, can I use my own sources, or do I have to use these? So he's got that critical mindset, but he has to be prepared to defend now, more seriously, his source of information. That's going to be a little tough for Trevor. Okay, yes. Waleed? Oh, thanks. I thought thank you. You're watching, yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's so many things. I better just plug in for a second, or I would have lost the live stream would crash. Yeah. I have sort of mental checklist, but I so as long as I can correct this very, very quickly. Go on. Yep, we're good. Solved. Yeah, good. Okay, so take another few minutes, all right, and then be prepared. We're going to have a really good take up because we have to conclude by the end of today's class. This person behind me on the big board right now, who has captured, I would say, many other people's attention around the world to the point where he's been called the world's most effective leader. Look at that person, not Tucker Carlson. There he is. Who is this guy? Where does he come from? What exactly does he want for his people in the long term? Not the short term, the long term. Really, really important. Okay? But we'll take this all up. Let's see what's happening in the chat over here and see if we have anything. Okay. Remember, for those of you in the Cosmos, take your time engaging with the sources, and I can always extend the time. The most important thing today is that you engage with good sources, and we think about this together. So I can give you more time. In the meantime, I'm going to go over to the notes, and I will do this again. Let's see what happens. I'm going to leave that here. Yeah, so I can go over here to the notes. I'm leaving my microphone open. So we have these two nucleus groups, and then we have, I think, about 10 people in the Cosmos, and we're going to be taking up with them. But then all of you asynchronously, you have the most reflecting to do in terms of your thinking. Remember, you don't have to do a discussion post this week. I mentioned that at the beginning of the class. So you should know that by now if you've been watching this class from the beginning, okay? But it's important that you reflect on this because we will be returning to this content after the break, after the reading week, and continuing to develop these ideas through the examples that we choose of what makes an effective global leader and who deserves to be called one by us, not by the rest of the world, by us. Okay? That's very important because we think together in this class, we judge together in this class, and we do our research. So that's why I want you to be thinking about these things. So we've got that. We've got our on board there. Okay? And I'm just reviewing a little bit. These are the sources that I gave at the beginning that are independent, high-quality journalistic sources in which the individuals associated with them, largely journalists, are trying their best to bring you unbiased information. Okay? So those are, and then Delaney has started another card inspired by Waleed's question, a good question. Which president has not committed the crime? Okay. So we're going to be taking all of this up, but by the end, we're going to be concluding together, did our choice that you voted on meet the critical scrutiny that we brought to him. Okay? Great. So I'm going to leave this up there for now. I'll let Delane come back in a moment, and we'll see. And nice, I see Elizabeth has put something in the appointment. I have an appointment to get to, but I thought. Okay, Elizabeth, do you want to put it into the live chat? I just want to let the nucleus concentrate a bit more without, but go ahead, jump on your microphone. That's fine. Yeah, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Hi. So I checked out ProPublica, I think you called it, and
Yes,
I had
ProPublica.
I had never heard of them. So the first thing that came to that I noticed was that everything there is very disheartening and kind of sad, and like most of the articles were reflecting about people's experiences about being arrested or tortured. Based on, I guess, the regime and the leadership of the El Salvadorian president. Now, when you pose a question, and I thought about this, my question is,
Yeah,
there is a
sure.
difference between effective leadership and ethical leadership. Effective just means I am causing an effect of what I want. So if his goal is dictatorship, yes, he's being effective. Yes, he's getting things done. Is it ethical? Not necessarily. But
Yeah,
that doesn't stop him from being a global leader. He is globally challenging what has been the norm or what has been accepted.
yes,
That doesn't mean that it's ethical though. So I think there's a difference
sure.
between effectiveness and ethical leadership. Um, I mean, and this is a bold statement, but Hitler was
Yes,
effective, not ethical. He was effective in getting what he wanted done in the world, but it was
yes.
not ethical and it wasn't right. So I think someone can be a global leader, but not necessarily be an ethical one. I hope that
Well,
makes
this
sense.
is, no, this is good. And this has also come up, I think, in your discussion posts too, frequently about ethical leadership, which is bang on, Elizabeth, in terms of what we're trying to understand. Can you, before you go, you mentioned that you have to go. Could you
Yes,
just sort of summarize that really as best you can in the live chat for us?
absolutely.
Because I'd like to make sure we have that idea with us as we take this up when you've gone. Okay, so just
Absolutely.
go ahead, 2 or 3 sentences, okay? And
Okay.
then
And then I'll head out.
thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Okay, everyone, I'm going to let you speak, so all of you for another, or look into this another couple of minutes. I'm just checking something here, and then I will come back. Oh, I think I know what might be happening there. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me just double check that. No, that's good. Okay, so the problem is this today. That's not working too well, but that is. And I'll stick with that for now. And I should stick with that. Good. Okay. So 3 more minutes. Okay. 3 more minutes, everyone. Elizabeth is going to put her summarized thoughts into the chat before she goes. And then be prepared to jump on your microphones if you would like full participation marks. And we're going to start the take up. And all I hope to achieve today with all of you is to introduce you to some good sources. We're just touching on this now, but I'm hoping that you're going to think about this more deeply. Okay, so we've got our notes. I don't know why. Let's try again. YouTube doesn't want to really work. Oh, I see. Okay. Go on. There we go. There we go. Stay that. That's all I needed was a refresh. Because I want to keep that on nice. We're going to leave that as stable. And I'm going to do this. Let's go to El Salvador. Let's go to El Salvador. There we are. I'm just zooming in right now. Okay, there we go. El Salvador, right there. And let us see what's happening there. Need to keep refreshing with it. Nice. Okay, so we're going to do our take up in 1 minute. And I'm hoping that those of you in the chat will put something in there we can work with. But if not, be prepared to jump on your microphone and tell us. Okay, so 1 minute or 60 seconds, everybody. We're getting ready for our take up. And the question we want to understand is this person, Nayib Bukele, a young president of a small country in Central America who has been called the world's most effective leader, whether he deserves to be called a global leader by us. And I like what Elizabeth has started to lead us towards. And I'm just going to read this out loud. I see it has come in on the live chat, so I can let her go. She has to go. Elizabeth has said, the articles I saw on ProPublica gave clear indication that the leadership of El Salvador has caused a lot of fear, torture, arrests. While I can understand the frustration and disapproval of the tactics used, I would argue that these methods are effective, but not ethical. A global leader can be effective, but not ethical. She is making an excellent point, but in our judgment, when we decide who deserves to be called a global leader, how important are ethics? If we begin to think about that question, we're going to be really addressing something difficult and important. Okay, so thanks, Elizabeth. Have a good reading or midterm break, right? Next week. And we'll see you back the following week. I look forward to reading all of your first assignment. I just saw it quickly, came in. It's interesting. I think you had talked about religion a little bit, didn't you? So I'm glad a student will bring that up, because religion is an important part of many people's and many leaders' worldviews. But anyways, okay, everyone, you ready for our little take up? We're going to pass the microphone around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give 2 microphones here. So Kendra and Darrell will have one, and then there will be a microphone for the group over here. So you've got your, okay, I'll get that up. So that's yours. Okay, excellent. Here you go. That's yours. And so we are going to start our take up. And I will go to the notes later. I want to let Delane participate from here for the moment, but we can always put some notes up there afterwards with our conclusion. First question. Trevor, are you ready?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So, Trevor, why don't you go ahead and start to tell us your conclusion, your source, and what you think, and then we're going to build on this. And just remember that Trevor wasn't the only one who voted for this person. There were others, and he may have made the right choice. It's a complicated choice. That's all I'm going to say. So, Trevor, please go ahead and tell us what you've determined after engaging a bit more with some good sources. Go ahead.
So when I was investigating, the first thing I investigated was about his morals. Obviously, I guess now he's like an actual dictator. So I wanted to learn more about like how did he do that.
Yes.
So he went to the uh, he went to the law, the judges in El Salvador. He went to the and then asked for their approval, and the judges didn't even waste a long time. They gave him the green light. So he did all of this legally without just saying, "Oh, I'm a dictator. No one's gonna take me out of here."
Yes.
He did not do that. He did that by law. He changed the law. And one interesting, well, one of my, well, I guess personal experience. Well, okay, actually, I wasn't born. So in Guatemala, there was a dictator back in 1982, I think.
Yes.
So, well, his name is Efrain Rios Montt. Very, very bad person. So he was a military base, I guess, leader. So when he went to the dictatorship, he just pronounced himself like a dictator without doing anything legally or anything. He just put himself there. So
Yes. Yes.
my parents used to tell me this. Everyone in the streets start protesting that he should be out. There's tons of protests. I think there was like a civil war too
Yes. Yes.
during those times. And the reason I say this, it was because with Bukele, nothing like this happens. Like you mentioned, and like Bukele has a very high approval rate by the Salvadorian people. And
Yes.
like, yes, he's a dictator, but he did that all legally by the law. And I think in conclusion, he is a global leader, a very good global leader.
Okay. So because he did it by the law and the judge.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Let's keep moving this around. And I'm. By the way, Trevor, you had asked, if you could use your own sources. So what was your source?
Here, my source is the name of my source is Directorio, no, Fortalecemos la Democracia de América Latina. Oh, I guess it's in Spanish. Okay, here in English. Strengthens democracy in Latin America.
Strength and democracy in Latin America.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment just to make sure that this is a good source and not one that's just using language that sounds good, but maybe isn't really what it says. Do you remember there's a book called 1984 by George Orwell? You've probably heard about it. Did you ever study it in high school, or have you heard about 1984, George Orwell? No? Okay. This is a classic book of looking at the future by a journalist, a British journalist in the 20th century, George Orwell, who wrote many important books. And in that book, there is a person who's living in a state that is highly controlled by technology. And this person is also grappling with the fact that not only is the technology controlling him, but there's a dictator who's using the technology to control people even more. And the dictator, named Big Brother, that's what the television show, Big Brother, is named after. It's a kind of a playful play on the idea of Big Brother. Technology is your big brother and takes care of you. Big Brother, the dictator, speaks the opposite. So he'll use slogans like war is peace, slavery is freedom. And so you repeat these things long enough, people start to think that, oh, actually, this feeling of being a slave is actually my freedom. And the war that this big brother is conducting with everybody, actually, it's bringing us peace. And so the dictator says the opposite of what's really happening. That's called propaganda. Does that make sense, Trevor? Do you understand my point? Where I'm going?
Yes. Yes.
So it's possible, it's very possible that your source is doing that. It's declaring democracy and freedom, but then behind that source are some smart people who know that if you say those things, people will start to believe them, but actually it's the opposite. So who do we know who produces this democracy and whatever website? Does it provide contacts,
Um,
transparency? people, journalists,
like
scholars.
I think if I'm correct, they're journalists, and like this group of people there, and they have two like places. They're in Argentina and the US.
Do we have names for them? Do they give their names in the website? Do we see pictures of them? Do we know their...
I'm looking for them right now.
Great, keep going. Look, okay, we'll move on. You may find that they are real and absolutely credible. I'm just asking questions to make sure that you know you're getting information from good places. Okay, we're going to go to the nucleus. Now, we definitely want the nucleus. I'm going to spend the last 10 minutes here, and then we're going to conclude, okay? Start to make some conclusions. So, do you want to start, Darrell? You have the microphone, and give us a sense. Trevor has said, essentially, based on what he's seen, he feels that Nayib Bukele got the approval of the judges, and he's following the law. That's good. Go ahead, Darrell.
I would watch like travel vlogs, and people did travel to El Salvador,
Yes.
and they actually went to the actual prison, and they showed the rehabilitation steps that they would do.
Yes.
So they would do like skill trades and stuff for them to be released
Yes.
back to society.
Yes.
So I just saw that, and I just assumed that he's doing good because normal prisons are not like that.
Yeah, sure. So then, are you saying that what you've seen with these travel videos, it makes you feel that these gang leaders, thousands and thousands and thousands of them, including their families, their children, it doesn't matter, they get arrested, they get put in prison, but they're getting rehabilitated and they're coming out with skills. So that's good? Is that good, Darrell?
For me, yeah, because like traditional jails are not like that. They don't rehabilitate people.
Sure.
They come out worse.
Excellent. Does everybody hear Darrell? Because he's making important points. Okay. Yes. Trevor, did you hear Darrell?
Yes, I have. Oh, sorry, I have a question. I
Sure.
think it's kind of based on what he said. No, actually, I don't know who said this. I don't know her name. She was saying that like he was doing like unethically things to like the people putting in prison, and which is it is true. But my question is like the people he's putting in jail and treating like this are very very bad people. They're worst of the worst. So my question is, do they deserve being ethically handled? Like, do they deserve this, right?
Well, let me just say one thing. In the sources that I gave you, you will find that not everybody being put in those prisons is part of a gang and that they're not bad. They're not all bad. That's been confirmed by people who are coming out of these prisons and telling us they've done nothing wrong except have a tattoo on them that looks suspicious. So, Kendra, you want to say something? Go grab the microphone, okay? So let's keep going, all right? Yes.
Just a point on like the prisons and stuff. We talked about the rehabilitation. Are they giving these people counseling? Are they working with them to solve those problems that are part of the rehabilitation? Still
Yes.
great, but they're just going to send people back into the workforce or doing the same thing over and over again. And on top of that, the mass arrest of people is a way to control and oppress people in general. It's not humility. It doesn't have humility or humanitism. I don't know.
Humanity, or even human rights. You know what we call that, Kendra? Just so you know, there's a term. A terror state. You know what a terror state is? It's something in which you live in a constant state of fear. Now, here's a question for all of you to think about. I do not want to discount the impact of gangs and how they conduct fear and violence and how they create a world that is very dark. But would you like to be living in a terror state, knowing that the gangs have been put to the side, homicides are down, people are not being intimidated, but now we have the intimidation of the state around us, meaning police everywhere, military, your neighbors might report you to the authorities. This is the world of 1984 and George Orwell. State terror. It's just a question, okay? You don't have to answer that. Would you rather that than that? It's a trade-off. But Kendra, do you want to say anything to that? State terror, constant fear, nice and clean, all safe, can go out, but boy, you say the wrong thing, somebody hears you, sure enough, half an hour later, knock on the door, authorities, come with us, and you disappear. This is what happens in China today. 1.5 billion people. State terror. Trevor, does that sort of make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to say anything, Kendra?
I just wanted to add that like when we were doing the sources and stuff, we went to the Freedom House as well, and so it shows that they're not a free country. So that website itself analyzes each country and
Yes.
shows that their rights and their access to rights as well as the political party's ability to govern the state. It's rated based on obviously Western ideals, which is not really my ideals of a
Yeah,
state.
yeah, yeah.
It is what world is read under. It says it is a partially free country, and it is rated 54 out of 100, which is not low, but it is not good.
It's not good. It's not good. Excellent. You went to Freedom House. Do you know it's consulted widely by all sorts of scholars, journalists, and of all kinds of political persuasions, liberal, conservative, in the middle, independent. So it's respected. It's been around for now 70 years. It's not considered a Western source. It's considered an independent global source by people who care about information, okay? So according to them, El Salvador is, pretty halfway down the list of 100 countries, 54 in terms of being free. It's always a big question about a global leader. If that person can clean up a problem and make you safer, how much freedom are you prepared to give up as an individual for your government to make you safe? How much? Very, very important question. Great. Okay, let's go over here to Delane or to Nathan or Waleed, and then we're going to conclude. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, turn it on. Yep. Which one? The Guardian? Yeah, The Guardian. Okay, yeah, good.
So in the Guardian, same thing as everyone. It's like he's forcing, if you're not on the same side as him, he's kind of taking you and putting you in jail. So before the class, I made some research.
Yes?
I don't know the source. I don't
Go
know by
ahead.
the
Let's see. We'll ask
But
you
on
what the
the-
source is. We'll see if you can remember. But go ahead.
But on the source, it was saying like the prisoners he's trying to get from the United States, which are the MS-13. That's the name of the camp, I think. So there were people who were taken by the USA, and they were like under protection because they were going to give more information. So on that source, it was saying like it was like naive they had some entanglements with those people. So now he's trying to get back those people with him so they won't try kind of expose what happened in the past.
Well. Yeah, go on, because I have a piece of information for you that's a fact. Go on, yeah.
So also, like, he's trying to be like a smart dictator. He's trying to like brainwash his people. Like he's trying to like, oh, I have reduced the amount of criminality in El Salvador.
yes.
But I'm trying to like put in myself, like he's putting his, how would I say, his gains over the population. So like now he's trying to be cool, but later his gains are going to come
Yeah,
up
the long term.
because
So,
people who are going to jail right now, some are innocent, so they're going to come out, and with all like hatred and all of that, it's going to
exactly.
cause like a backlash on him and on the population and all of that. So we don't think as a group that he's an effective leader.
Delane, can you remember your source? I'm just
I
curious.
don't remember. I was just
Okay,
looking up
okay.
Google, so I just
Okay.
forgot one source, but I think it was a credible source.
Yeah.
Because I was sure.
Well, let me just say a few things. I think we should conclude just because we have 5 minutes left. We're not going to be able to make our big conclusions today. We can do that after the break. I will come back, and one of the benefits of recording everything well is that we can always check the recording, after the break, and then we can refresh our memories, and then we can do our final conclusions with this, okay? So we won't do that today. However, I do have one thing I'd like to say. And I'm just going to conclude with this, but before I do, in the cosmos, is there anything any of you would like to say? Trevor or Morgan or Melanie, before we conclude? We're not going to decide today what the answer is to the question. We're going to come back to that after the break.
I do have a take.
Yes, go ahead.
Based on the Economist and ProPublica, I think Bukele is undeniably portrayed as a globally influential figure. But whether he deserves to be called a global leader depends on our definition of leadership, I think. And to me, if a global leader means someone who is intentionally visible and has influence, then
Yes.
I would call Bukele a global leader.
Well, we can say one thing that makes him a global leader in terms of impact. He's capturing the attention of others. So just from sheer impact, Ecuador, for example, another small country in Central America, if you look at the map of the world down here and you will see right there, El Salvador right in the middle. There's Guatemala, of course, there's Mexico right to the north, Guatemala, Honduras, and then we have Nicaragua, and then there's El Salvador. You go down a little bit further, actually, I have to do this, and you will see Ecuador here. There's Ecuador. The young president of Ecuador has also declared that he would like to do, and is doing, slowly, exactly what Bukele has been doing. Build huge prisons and arrest all the gangs, no matter who these people are, just get them into jails. Get them off the street. And, of course, Donald Trump invited Bukele to the White House and said to the world how proud he is of Bukele. And Tucker Carlson, the person who's doing this interview, is considered probably the most strident, supportive voice of the MAGA movement in the United States. That's the movement that elected Donald Trump. Make America Great Again. So he's very much impacting other countries, are starting to, and he's grabbed the attention of a person we're very familiar with in Canada, Donald Trump. So that tells you something. But to Delane's point, El Faro is a fledgling, emerging, independent journalistic organization in El Salvador. The journalist, one of them, I don't know who, has been arrested. There's a human rights leader, Ruth Lopez, in El Salvador, who has been arrested. Delane just said that there are people in the United States that Nayib Bukele is concerned about. He does not want them to speak, and he wants to ensure that they're intimidated and live in fear, so they don't speak and tell us what they know. In the short term, this is the important point about leadership, global leadership. In the short term, a person may come along, like Nayib Bukele, never finished university or college, comes from a wealthy family. His father is a very successful businessman. And he went immediately, after spending a little time in college, into advertising. And he got a lot of experience in the advertising world. He understands how to market things. Look at how nicely kept he is, how cool he looks. You know, a young leader, he's got his shirt open, no tie. You know, he keeps himself in good shape. He's thin. He's, you know, marketing is important to him. Marketing is all about short-term gain. You want to get people's attention now. But the really hard problems to fix, like gangs in your community, violence, crime, drugs, all of these things, these are deep infrastructural, systemic, long-term problems that need long-term solutions. And when a leader comes along and does these short-term actions that get a lot of attention, I would ask yourself, is this person doing this for effect and immediate votes, or do they have the courage to stand up and create a long-term plan that may get some opposition? And will that person be able to fight for that long-term plan that may get some opposition? And will that person do it within the limits of their constitution? Nayib Bukele has done exactly what Vladimir Putin has done in Russia and Xi Jinping has done in China and Donald Trump wants to do in the United States. Change the Constitution so they have power for life. Vladimir Putin has power for life in Russia. Xi Jinping has power for life. Donald Trump now has a movement going in the United States to change the American Constitution so that an American president can go into a third term. That has never, ever happened in the United States. And he has a campaign that's just starting so that he can become a president for life. That is something Nayib Bukele has already done in El Salvador. He has changed the Constitution to give him power for much longer. We should be concerned about that. Waleed?
Just wanted to add something real quick. There was actually one president that went for a third term, and that was Franklin D. Roosevelt. So,
briefly during the Second World War, briefly because of the conditions of that war, but he did not last for that. Very good point, Waleed. You know stuff, and it's great when you bring things to the class. Let's just stop because time is out. All I want you to do is think about this person more deeply, this person we voted on, and then we will return to this after the break. You don't have anything to do. You're done in terms of work if you got your first assignment in, your discussion post. I'm going to give you midterm marks next Tuesday. If you need to talk to me about anything, I'm here. Have a great midterm break, and good luck on your rest of your exams and everything else, okay? Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Cosmos, everybody there. And if you need to give a final word, go ahead. Thank you, but before I shut down, okay?
Have a nice day.
Thanks, Trev. Take care. Okay, let me shut the microphone here so we can have our little private moment. And I'll do that here. Hold on. It comes on again.